What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Now today we are gonna again cover some weapons, this time in the energy slot, that are recommended for y'all to have for the final shape. These are going to be disgusting in my personal opinion due to some of the changes for the sandbox as well as those exotic buffs. So we are going to cover the buffs first to these weapons and then cover the 15 individual weapons, 10 legendary, 5 exotics that I think are going to be disgusting. Obviously there are all weapons that'll really work, but I think that these, if you only had these 15 in each of the slots that I go over, you would be able to go through basically any type of content. So starting us off, this is the changes to PvE damage versus all combatants. Pulse rifles got 20% increase, pellet shotguns a 10%, slug shotguns 9, fusion rifles 7, sniper rifles 7, glaive projectiles 7, linear fusions 5. Now we're going to get into specifics. Increased damage versus red bars, so those minor enemies. Sidearm, trace, scout, and bows get a 20% increase. Autos and pulses get 15. So this, with that 20% from above, we're getting a 38% increase against the red bar enemies. So pulse rifles are going to be the meta. Submachine guns and hand cannons are both also getting a increase against red bars. 10% for machine guns, 5 for hand cannons. Against majors, those orange bars, we're getting trace rifles 20%, and then globally, including PvP, machine guns and sword are both getting 7. So that also falls into that top category, which includes base damage against all PvE combatants. This just also includes PvP as well. Starting us off for these energy weapons right here, we are gonna have the Indebted Kindness, which comes from the Warlord's Ruin dungeon. That first encounter, first boss, which is very easy to farm and defeat him. This is a rocket assisted frame, so this shoots little rockets out of a sidearm. Has been my most used weapon for sure since I got it with the God Roll, in my opinion, with either beacon rounds, impulse amplifier in that third column, and then volt shot in the fourth column. This thing is destructive, and I think it's going to be absolutely nasty inside of the final shape. Next on our list was actually one of our seasonal ritual rewards, the Epochal Integration. Now this thing is disgusting for a few different reasons. It is good in both PvP, PvE, plus with its perks it has on it for its origin traits, which I went over a couple days ago via weapons that are going to be also good in the final shape based on origin traits. This one has 2 of them, Harmonic Resonance and Nanotech Tracer Rockets, so we can shoot little micro rockets on those multiple hits. It'll just fire a little rocket for you. And then that Harmonic Resonance, when we got other weapons that have this origin trait, we get increased reload and handling. It also deals more damage against Tormentors, Lucent Hive, Guardians, and their supers. So Epochal Integration, definitely my go-to hand cannon right here inside of the energy slot. I know some are going to argue that Zawuli's Bane is better in that 120, but I really truly believe that this right here is disgusting with its damage that it has because of its 2 origin traits, and with the stats for all incandescent. I absolutely love this thing. Right here we got a fusion rifle, just like in our kinetic slot, with the scatter signal and riptide. This is a rapid fire frame, deeper reserve, slightly faster reload when the magazine is empty. This is a solar weapon right here. Cartesian coordinate, definitely been one of my go-tos since I came out with it, or since I obtained it, I should say. Vorpal weapon, high impact rounds on this. Very, very good weapon for sure for the PvE realm. Another Dares of Eternity weapon, little easier than the ignition code that I went over in the kinetic weapon video, but this BXR Battler right here is definitely my go-to pulse rifle inside of the energy slot. Has some pretty crazy perks on it. I know there's some good ones also with that heal clip incandescent, but I do like the combination of demo incandescent on this, as well as adrenaline demo, as well as the craftability of this weapon. So I love this Dares of Eternity opportunity, go grind it out. It's also very good in PvP. Next on our list is a scout rifle. The Vouchsafe Void Scout Rifle comes from activities like the Blind Well on the Dreaming City, has some pretty good rolls on it. Repulsor destabilizing, also has a rapid hit, 4 times the charm in that third column, with Dragonfly as well as explosive rounds in the fourth column. So very good overall scout rifle. Definitely one of my go-tos is that light frame, so it shoots a little bit faster and it just feels very, very good in PvE. Next on the list is a sidearm, the Heliocentric. My go-to is Heal Clip with that incandescent, but Frenzy does also feel pretty solid on this, or surrounded in that fourth column. Went with this because this is getting that nice little buff, 20% against red bars, so I think this is going to be a very good sidearm to have for the PvE realm in the final shape. Next on the list is the craftable Callus mini tool. Definitely up there, best 3 SMGs in my opinion for the energy slot. We're going to cover one of the other top 3 next, but this is a solar burn, has that Midas synergy, which gives us faster movement with a lightweight weapon, superb handling, and we get an additional speed benefit if we use Mida multi-tool, but that really doesn't happen that often unless you might be doing that in Crucible. But this thing has good perks, definitely for the PvE realm. Love this thing, has definitely some of the most kills on it since I crafted it. On the same side of that coin right there, we got the Ikelos SMG, aggressive frame, high damage, high recoil, arc version right here. This thing is also craftable, has Volt Shot, Surrounded Frenzy in that fourth column, as well as Shoot to Loot, Feeding Frenzy, Threat Detector in the third column. So this thing is disgusting inside of PvE. This is my #1 SMG in the energy slot right in front of the Callus mini tool, but this thing also destroys in the Crucible as well. See it a lot on those Titans that are shotgunning with this as their secondary, so 100% using this hard inside of final shape. Getting down to the nitty gritty, our last 2 right here for legendaries, both coming from the Prophecy Dungeon, which we will be able to enhance these perks inside of the final shape. We got the aggressive, hard-hitting, hard recoil, aggressive frame, a sudden death void shotgun right here, has some good perks, slide shot opening as well as accurized for the Crucible, and then has stuff like threat detector, envious, trench barrel, destabilizing, as well as 1-2 punch in the fourth column. So it is an all-around good shotgun. Would throw it basically in the 4-2, 4-3 for both PvP, PvE. Definitely coming with me inside of the final shape. Last energy weapon is the precision frame arc auto rifle with the prosecutor. Like I said, also from the Prophecy Dungeon, we'll be able to enhance these perks, but Crucible, you got stuff like keep away, target lock, very disgusting, and then we got rewind rounds on this, Dragonfly, Volt Shot, Frenzy. So this thing has, again, an all-around value to it for both PvP, PvE, plus we'll be able to enhance these perks. Would throw this about the same thing as a sudden death, about a 4-3, 4-5, something like that out of 5 for both PvP as well as PvE. Now on to our exotics. First off, we got the Perfect 5th and the Polaris Lance right here. Precision hits, return ammo to the mag, as well as on that 4th one landed, we get the Solar Explosion that scorches target. This thing has helped so much this season getting through a lot of that end game content. I definitely think it is still going to be one of the best end game weapons for the energy slot and exotics. Similar to the Polaris Lance, we got the Graviton Lance, the Void Pulse Rifle. Both of these aren't taking place in those buffs because they intrinsically got more damage in the PvE realm, so they are staying the same in that aspect, but because of the perks that they have on it, they're disgusting. So this Black Hole Cosmetology, where we get those void projectiles to spread, we also get a raging ad clear with this, if you will, because of those void projectiles. Pairing it with other things, Devour, Volatility, it is disgusting. So still coming with me into the final shape. Next off, we got the Sunshot. Has a little nerf coming with that explosion that it has on its rounds, but the splash damage isn't getting decreased that much, so Sunburn is still going to be very, very good. Sunblast as well is still going to do well with the explosions of solar energy on defeats causing Scorch, so it's still going to have very, very good synergy inside of that solar potential, solar subclasses, but it is getting a wee nerf in the splash damage, but I guarantee you're really not going to be able to tell the difference. Second to last, we got the trusty dusty Trinity Ghoul. This is going to get that nice 20% increase against red bars, so Ad Clear with this is going to get even more disgusting with that split electron. It fires a split arrow into 3. When we're aiming down the sights, it decreases that spread, and then once we get the defeats with this, precision kills, we get the chain lightning capabilities, and then with the catalyst, any of those arc defeats after that give us that lightning rod, so this thing has the Ad Clear potential of the Zeus god and just can absolutely map everything around you when you are on that Ad Clear job. Definitely a go-to for PvE. Last but not least, this one might be contradictory because I know some people don't like this as it is getting stuck on it, and on top of that, it's getting a little bit of a nerf, being able to proc that cage around enemies a little harder, so people might not enjoy that, but I still think it's easily one of the best debuffs and best weapons to have for some of that endgame content, giving us the nerfs on it with Divinity. That judgment, that sustained damage gives us the cage, which allows us to disrupt overload champions, and then it allows us to basically get crit shots inside of that cave on the enemy, so we don't got to worry about hitting some little target, especially on things that are moving like Ralk. So very, very good exotic to have. A little tricky to get because you got to go through a bunch of different quest steps, but if you have it, definitely going to be a essential weapon. I think maybe not essential is the right word, but a very, very good weapon still inside of the final shape. So again, I appreciate all you guys coming back to the channel, means a bunch to me. If you have not, like and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a bunch, helps the channel out a bunch, as well as slap of that bell button so you don't miss out on any of the content we make here on the channel by getting some notifications for videos when they come out. We got a Discord as well that gives you notifications, so don't be afraid to join that on top of it all, but you obviously don't have to. Again, I appreciate all you guys for always coming out to the channel, supporting me. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.